with Manchester United because I'm so confused about why nothing's been done. If you didn't see it last night, they lost 2-1 to Istanbul Basaksehir. I think that's how it's pronounced. I can't even pronounce the team's name. But they lost 2-1. 2-1, they were 2-0 down, they got a goal back at the end of the first half, and then the second half, nothing. And I think everyone's to blame. I think every single person at that club is to blame. And, I'm looking at this on an outside perspective. My family follow Manchester United. I'm Donny Rovers, but I do look at Man United as well. And I watched the game last night, and I sort of think to myself, what goes on at that club? What goes on? Because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he got his tactics wrong. From his side of things, the things he gets blamed for, he deserves to get blamed for, is the tactics. Taking the wrong players off, I didn't get that at all. Van der Beek was probably the best player for United on the night, shall we say. And he took him off. He took him off. But Bruno has had, in my opinion, 2 average games in a row. And he doesn't come off. Now, I'm sitting there thinking, well, hang on a cotton picking second here. Bruno Fernandes plays average or alright, but not world class like we expect from him in the previous games. He's played average or okay for 2 games. Not the standard of Man United for 2 games in a row. Would you bring him off, or would you bring off the world class Van der Beek performance of the day? The performance of the night? I'd be strict, I'd be ruthless, and I would take off Bruno. I would leave Van der Beek on the pitch, and I would take off Bruno, and I would put, and this is a point that was made by Ricky from the United stand on his fan cam when I watched it, there needs to be a pair for Matic, whether it's Fred, whether it's McTominay, I don't care. There needs to be a pair. And, it confuses me. It absolutely confuses me about that. Why Van der Beek wasn't left on the pitch. And another thing that confuses me, why is Harry Maguire still at the club? He's been here, 18 months? He's been at Man United 18 months? What has he done? He was apparently the best aerial defender in the league. I will decide that in a parallel universe. Harry Maguire was overpaid, overhyped, and not good enough. But Leicester, they got the best bit of the bargain because they got Soyuncu with the money from Maguire. And Soyuncu's a better defender on his worst day than Harry Maguire, the flaming fridge. I'm not even going to call him a fridge magnet because unlike a fridge magnet, that actually sticks to a fridge. Harry Maguire doesn't stick to his man. It's like temporary glue. You might stick to him for a little bit, but sooner or later, you'll come off. And Harry Maguire, in the 2 centre-back pairing, wasn't even he was supposed to be the physical man. He's the physical centre-back. But what makes me laugh even more is that he plays he wants to play a freewheeling centre-back role. He's like, I'm not going to be the physical man marker. I'm free falling. Free falling out of form. And Harry Maguire is not good enough. £80 million. £80 million for that guy. I'd rather pay £80 million to sign bloody Jan Oblak and Mandragora. I wouldn't pay £80 million for Harry Maguire. I won't pay 80p at the minute. What is going wrong at Manchester United Football Club? And like I said, every single person has to be blamed. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for the tactics. The players need to be blamed because most of them can't be arsed. Most of them steal a paycheck. Most of them are just going with the flow of things. Most of them, if not nearly all of them, are trying to sack another manager because realistically, if you look at it from the players' point of view, they are playing to sack another manager. That's what the players are playing like. It doesn't matter about, the board's this, the board's that, the manager's this, the manager's that. If you look at the players' point of view and why the players have to be blamed as well, one specific point about the players is they are trying to sack another manager. Some players did it with Moyes, some players did it with Van Gaal, some players did it with Mourinho, and now they're doing it with Ole. Who is next? Julian Nagelsmann? Maurizio Pochettino? Not Ryan Giggs. But, you know what I mean? It's like these players are trying to sack another manager. And you know what? Most of that squad are actually from the time when they sacked Mourinho. When they got Mourinho sacked, when they turned on him, and Mourinho got the boot. Why aren't some of these players getting the boot? Oh, I know. It's because the board do not want to back a manager. They don't want to back him. And when they do back him, let's not be hasty here. First year of Mourinho, first year of Ole, they did back him in a way, but they backed him the wrong way. Even when they backed the managers, they backed them the wrong way. Paying 80 million for Harry Maguire, not good enough. Getting Bruno in January when it should have been in the summer, not good enough. Losing out on Jadon Sancho, not good enough. Losing out on Jude Bellingham and Erling Haaland, not good enough. Haaland is a proper Ole Gunnar Solskjaer player. Sancho was at the top of Solskjaer's hit list. Bellingham visited the Carrington training ground and still chose Dortmund. Weak recruitment by Manchester United Football Club. And you know what? I'm not... this channel is all about punditry, right? I look at it from both sides. How can you see it from a Glazer's point of view? How can you see it in that light? I'm not going to be one of those that's going to be sitting on here and going, well, look at it from the Glazer's side, COVID, loss of money. That's not an excuse. COVID's not an excuse. Everyone else has bought players. Sheffield United spent about, 35 million or something on Brewster from Liverpool? Everton spent on James Rodriguez, Allen, Decore. Even Fulham spent money. Even Fulham have spent money. But United, all they did in the transfer window was pay 35 for Van der Beek. And let's be fair here, the only reason they got Van der Beek was through Van der Sar's judgment. He's probably on the phone now asking Van der Beek's agent, have you got a buyback clause in your contract? Can we bring you back to Ajax and get you back in the setup? And to be fair, Van der Beek's could be infected with the United curse very, very soon, so maybe they will try and get him back before he gets infected with the United curse. So Ajax don't turn to ruin. And it's just... I don't get it. I really don't get it. So 35 for Van der Beek, but that was given on the cheap because Van der Sar basically recruited him to United. He basically gave the idea to United to get Van der Beek on the cheap. 35 million was too cheap for me, for a good player. And Van der Beek deserves so much better than this. They brought in Cavani. I could see him try and make things happen. He is an experienced player. He is a leader. But I don't see how one person can change an entire dressing room here. It's like, man, you've got their own little cliques. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, Wolfpack. Wolfpack till I die, NWO and all that malarkey. It's like little cliques. And the little cliques are sort of combining together against the new guys that want to change the way they play. And like, no. We like collecting a wage check every week. We like playing it cool. We like playing it soft. We like getting, scamming 3rd or 4th place a season. We love not competing for titles because at the end of the day, we're still getting a huge wage check. And, we're going to a socially distant Nike photo shoot on Tuesday. We don't want to change the way we play. We don't want to compete. So we need to make sure we get the new players into our style, or we try and kick them out with negative media twisted stories. And that's what it feels like at United. The players that perform crap are trying to turn the new players crap, or they'll try and force them out through any way they can without getting themselves exposed. That is how it looks to work. And, Van der Beek, Cavani, an 18-year-old in January, an 18-year-old now in Palestri, what was he thinking? Alex Telles, what was he thinking? He's got COVID, so I send my heart and support to Telles, his friends, his family. I hope you get well, mate. But honestly, you don't deserve Man United at the minute because you deserve so much better, like Van der Beek. Probably Cavani deserves better as well, because I think he'd like to go to the Uruguayan Premiership for his last years of his career and try and lead a team to multiple titles over in South America or something, or go to another team in the Champions League, because clearly he's too good for United. Cavani. And let's look at some of the players now. Oh my god! And this actually made me cringe with just devastation. This board, the boardroom, the Glazers, are a joke. They are an absolute joke, and they are the big reason why Man United have not won a league title or a European trophy since Ferguson retired. That is the truth. They may have won an FA Cup under Van Gaal. They may have won a Europa League with Jose Mourinho. FA Cup, one of the biggest cups in England, not worldwide. The Europa League, the second best competition in Europe. Not the first, the second best. Do they like settling for Europa League and FA Cup? Is that the aim? Scam top four, get a trophy in England, or scam a Europa League if we're in there, and, you know, we'll be alright. We'll be alright. No, we won't. No, they won't. Because Man United are going round in a circle that never ends. It's like going through the bloody Peninsula Triangle, whatever it is. Bermuda Triangle. It's like going through something different and then coming out the other side and thinking, what the hell's happened there? It's confusing. It doesn't make sense. It's like putting a snail in a NASCAR race. It does not make sense. It's like a guy from Australia saying, well, you know, Jack the Ripper, let's give him the Medal of Freedom, without even reading what Jack the Ripper's done. It doesn't make sense. And, you know, look at the players they've sold. Sanchez for free. Smalling for about, 15 million euros? And that should have been done months ago. That should have been done weeks ago. That should not be done on deadline day with a few hours to go. That should have been done, that should have been done a few weeks before deadline day. And Cavani, by the way, he's a free agent. They could have signed him weeks ago, months ago. They could have signed Cavani months ago. And yet they waited until deadline day. Or the day before deadline day, technically the night when it was confirmed with Telles. But they actually signed him on deadline day. For a free agent. Is this what the club's come to now? Looking at the other players, Pereira, loaned out. Dallo, loaned out. Chong, loaned out. And going back to the board, and this is the point I was going to make. The board do not back a manager. So, and you got to look. This is an example, right? Phil Jones. Oh, why is that guy still at the club but Phil Jones anyway? Phil Jones, right? He's been at the club, over 10 years now? Nearly 10 years, something like that. And if you think about it, if you terminate his contract now, you have to pay him £16 million. This is the people that apparently know football. £16 million to terminate his contract now. Rip up, done, Bondadeci, or whatever it's called in Italian. £16 million to terminate his contract right now. They're not going to do that. They're going to let it run. And that means, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, this means that Phil Jones is probably going to get a testimonial. Phil Jones! Phil Jones! Phil bloody Jones! How does he deserve a testimonial match? Brought him from Blackburn and did jack all. What did he do at this club? What did he do at Man United? I'm looking at this from an outside perspective, but I'm getting so passionate because there's owners at that club, and I've seen this from an outside perspective. Think of the fans that support Man United. Think of the true diehard fans that support Man United. Think what they're thinking right now. They're sitting there thinking, what have we done to deserve this? We've had the glory years of Ferguson. This is worse than when Ferguson first joined. I think he was a game or two away from the sack in the early 90s. And then, Ferguson was sort of turned it around and became the legend he is. And the people with an agenda against certain players that didn't actually perform that bad, they're going to, Harry Maguire's one. Harry Maguire is definitely one. You're going to have people that have got an agenda against criticising Harry Maguire. And they're going to say, well, Harry Maguire may have made a couple of mistakes, but look at Lindelof, look at Luke Shaw, look at Paul Pogba. Yes, Paul Pogba's been inconsistent, and yes, he deserves to get sold in the summer next year. But, come on. Seriously, right. I know Bruno's been average the last couple of games, but are people seriously saying that Bruno Fernandes is worse than Harry Maguire? What the actual blooming heck are you talking about? Bruno Fernandes is not better than Harry Maguire. Oh my God, you do not know. In the most, I don't want to criticise fans or anything like that, right? I'm going to say this in the nicest way possible because I'm a nice person. I want to say it in the nicest way possible. You don't know anything about football if you think Bruno Fernandes is a worse player than Harry Maguire. I'm saying that in the nicest way possible. It's just not true. Bruno Fernandes is 10 times the player of Harry Maguire, 10 times the player of Phil Jones, 10 times the player of Scott McTominay at times, 10 times the better player than Pereira and things like that. And the fact that Pereira... Chong loaned out is alright. He's young. He's still got time to learn. But Pereira and Dalot loaned out. They're still at the club. Pereira, he's been rubbish last season. And he gets loaned out. He's still part of the club. And Dalot's get loaned out. He doesn't get game time. He deserves to go somewhere permanently where he gets first team football. Yet he is still Man United's player. They are keeping money, the Glazers. They are keeping money. On the pitch, you blame Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you blame the players. The players, and I haven't said this yet, but the players are like walking sponsorships. It's like I said earlier, they're going to ease their way into the game. They're not going to try. They're not going to play for the badge because they play for the money. They play for their paycheck. So they don't care whether they win, lose or draw. They don't care about the club or anything like that. They will go over there. They're going to come back. They're going to get their night photo shoot done on Tuesday at a social distance. They're going to get the wage check. They're going to get the new sponsorships. They're going to sign some autographs and send them packing by delivery. Royal Mail and all that malarkey. But, at what point does someone now need to come in with a financial backer and just take over that club? Take over the mess they left us in. And you know what? To be fair, I think I've said this in the past, either online or on here. But I'll say it again for those of you who missed it. The only reason why the Glazers weren't exposed during Fergie's last years is because Ferguson's trophies and his excellence as a manager hid their frailties. You've got to think, when the Glazers first took over the club in 2005, there was immediately controversy surrounding two failed bids and then the completed bid, the third one. FC United of Manchester, who Doncaster are playing this weekend in the FA Cup, round 1, they were set up because of the Glazers takeover. Immediately when they came in, and do you know what the best bit is? They bought Man United to try and clear up the debt. They bought the club reportedly on debt money. So they're still bringing in even more debts that they're still trying to clear up now. Since when were they fit to run a football club? They're fit to run a business, but not a football club. And the recruitment, Ed Woodward and Matt Judge, oh my God. You couldn't see two worse recruiters if you saw Jack the Ripper at the Happy Hour conference. You couldn't see a worser person than Ed Woodward and Matt Judge to run the recruitment of transfers at Manchester United. And you know what the best bit is? Do you know what the best bit is? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had a plan. He had a list of people he wants to buy. Top 3 of that list: Grealish, Upamecano and Sancho. Top 3. And they were like, no, we're going to get an Ajax midfielder on the cheap who is good, but Van der Sar, kind of gave me the eye about it. And, we'll get Cavani, even though he's a free agent, we'll get him on deadline day. We'll waste our time with it. We'll get 2 18-year-olds, one in January, one now. We'll split them, a couple of months apart. And, we'll just see what else happens. January we might not get anyone, but we think the excuse is COVID. You know, and that's the recruitment at Man United. They blame COVID. They'll blame anything but themselves. Anything but themselves. And what do you sit there and do? Do you sit there and go, well, we can't take this anymore. We have to trend Glazers out, Woodward out, Judge out. We have to trend all of that out. Or are you actually going to sit there and think, well, hang on, are you going to sit there brain dead and say, well, hang on a minute, maybe they could do some good? No, they can't. No, they can't. Everyone knows it. I know it. You guys know it. The brain dead people don't know it. The Glazers don't know it. Woodward and Judge, they don't know it. And to be fair, I did see that even though there was rumours he was going to get sacked after the Istanbul game, and he might get sacked after the Everton match if they lose or draw, especially if they lose, Solskjaer's still getting apparently backed by the board. He never got backed. He never got back. And you know what? Ollie is a manager, and this is nothing against him because he's a club legend, and I hate seeing what he's gone through. It's like Lundberg when he was caretaker at Arsenal after Emery got sacked. He was way out of his depth. And I said straight away, even though there was times where I said, well, hang on a minute, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer put a good performance in here. There have been times where I've seen that, but overall, I thought about it, and I was like, when he got the interim job, I was thinking, well, hang on a minute, yeah, it's till the end of the season. Then when he was brought in permanently, I was like, no, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not a permanent manager. He got sacked by Cardiff. He left Mould. You know, Mould in Norway is his style of management. The level of that club is his managerial style. He is better managing a different club because he's just not cut out to manage this club. He's an amazing player. He was an amazing player, an absolute superstar on the pitch. But as a manager, he needs more experience. Like Lundberg, like Lampard, like all these young player managers, or players turned managers. You know, the next generation will be the likes of Wayne Rooney. You know, even Fabian Delph in a few years might turn to managing. Micah Richards could be a good manager. Vincent Kompany could be a good defensive coach. But these next generation of players to managers need to learn their trade. They need to go into jobs where they can learn, get the experience, and then try and push forward in their careers to try and get higher and higher jobs. Unless you like a club that you're at and they can stick with them for a long time until it's physically impossible to stay there anymore. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs a club that's more suited to his experience. Man United is too big of a job. And that's not me being disrespectful to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer because I think he's a playing legend. He's a legend of Man United Football Club, part of that famous squad. And, you know, he's the kind of guy you'd love. He's a lovable guy. But as a manager, he needs more experience. I'd like it if he was on the coaching staff for now. I'd like it if he was maybe the assistant manager or he was one of the coaches, just like an attacking coach maybe. But that would only work if we had a brand new board and a brand new first team manager. But to be perfectly honest, if you kept the same board, it doesn't matter what kind of manager you bring into the club, whether it's Pep, whether it's Klopp, whether it's Nagelsmann, whether it's Pochettino, anyone comes into that club as manager, they will not do the right job because they won't get backed. They will not get backed. Even in the first year, they might get backed a little bit, but not enough. And then the second year, they won't get back to all. And if they survive 3 years, they won't get back to all. And it's that cycle again and again and again. And the new manager bounce is boosting people's pockets. But at the same time, the Glazers are ruining managers' careers, ruining players' careers, ruining fans' mental health, and they're ruining the club's reputation. And how long will it be now until Man United become the first of the Big Six, the old Big Six in the Premier League, to be relegated from the top division? And I'm not joking here. I'm really not joking. Because even though it was a Champions League game last night, how long will it be? The form's even worse in the league. So how long will it be until Solskjaer goes? How long will it take until the board goes away from the club and just sells it and move on to destroy the next business they own? And what are the Premier League going to do about it? Are they going to see... Well, actually, to be fair, no, the Premier League like money, so they're going to see they're making money, but not good football, and they're like, move on. They're alright. Just move on. You know? They screwed Newcastle out of a takeover. The people trying to take over Burnley, they were the ones that screwed Charlton Athletic. So why have they been allowed near a football club? And to be fair, those are the guys that didn't have apparently £1 million, so how come they forked out 200 million from somewhere? There is scandalous businessmen in football that need to be ruled out of this game. There needs to be people that are passionate about football as well as the business side of things to run football clubs. Man United is not one of them. Burnley's new takeover bid isn't one of them. Newcastle, they need a takeover from somewhere because the current ownership under Mike Ashley is not good enough. And how long will it be now for Man United? How long will it be until the first Big Six team is relegated? And you know what? Look at the... I think it's usually the Big Six, but technically the original is the Big Four. So it's Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, Man United. That's usually the Big Four. The Big Six, probably, along with Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United... I mean, if you're looking at a Big Six, you might include Man City and Tottenham, and that's about it. But Tottenham haven't won a trophy, so do you swap them out with Leicester? Do you swap them out with the next oldest team in the league? What do you do? So I think technically the Big Four, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, Man United. Out of those teams, I would fancy Man United to get relegated by an absolute landslide, because the ownership does not know how to run a football club. And you know what? If the Glazers stay here, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, how long will it be now before they announce, well, we've picked out a site for a brand new 100,000 capacity new stadium, so next year we're going to say goodbye to Old Trafford and say goodbye to all the memories. They are ruining this football club. They are ruining Manchester United, and I'm looking at it from an outside perspective, and you're wondering why I'm so passionate, because I hate what the Glazers are doing to United. I would be this passionate if it was Arsenal, if it was Tottenham, if it was Newcastle, if it was Watford, if it was West Ham. If it was any other club, I would be this passionate because I hate seeing scandalous owners in football that are in it for a profit and not for making the football club succeed. That is my stance on it. And I hate seeing what Man United is becoming. So what do I think they're going to do against Everton? And you know what? I might actually, since Danny Rovers isn't kicking off till 5:30, I'm going to watch the Everton match. I'm going to watch Everton Man United, and I'm going to see exactly what team they put out, exactly how they play, see if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's done right with the tactics and the substitutions. If he does and the players still perform badly, you look at the players, because they're trying to get rid of him. I think if Ole puts the right tactics out and puts the right substitutions in the right places, but the players don't play for him and they lose 2 or 3-0 still, but Ole did the right things, then you've got to look and say the players aren't playing for the badge and they're playing to get rid of him. So, you know, and I feel sorry for Ole. I don't feel sorry for his tactical decisions. Van der Beek getting substituted, like I said, again, that was rubbish. And Carlo Ancelotti's sitting there, licking his lips like it's the biggest buffet in the world, like, oh, I'm the big bad wolf and I'll huff and I'll puff and I will blow your team down. You know, the 3 little red devil piggies are running around the brick house. I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow this team down. I'll blow this club down. But not the Glazers. No, they're sat inside the little American bunker, you know, safe from all the air raid sirens that are going off around the rest of football to alert them how rubbish their club is. But, you know, that's all I wanted to say. I know it was a long video today, but, I mean, I just had to do this video because it was just not good enough yesterday from Man United. And there needs to be improvement. There needs to be improvement, and I don't know where it's going to come from, but I hope I see it very, very soon rather than later, because later it might be too little too late. So thank you very much, guys, for watching this video. I'm Aaron Challoner, your home for the sports and football you love, and for now, have a nice day.